He was a scrawny kid from Adelaide, 40th pick in the 1994 draft. And today Michael O'Loughlin becomes the first Swan to play 300 games. For the Swans, this is an historic moment in their 113 years as a league club. In 15 magnificent seasons, O'Loughlin has broken his club's games record, won the best and fairest and goal kicker awards, a premiership, played in 3 grand finals and endeared himself to footy fans across the country as a player deserving of his nickname, Magic.
Yes, such an historic club, and what a day for Michael O'Loughlin, the first ever to play 300 games for the Sydney Swans stroke South Melbourne. The feeling in the room has been terrific, as you could imagine. And because of the results this weekend, as Paul joins me, I was just thinking about the results of the weekend, Rizzy. I don't know if you look at the ladder. I mean, you could be above Hawthorn tonight, mate.
Yeah, it's been a strange weekend, but for us the focus is on obviously mixed day, which is a big day for us, and also the young players getting as much game time as we possibly can into them over the next month.
They've gone pretty fast in the last few weeks. Is that something you're aware of today, Richmond?
Yeah, they have. They've got a really quick midfield. They've got some good leg speed, but they're using the ball well. So they've changed a little bit. I think they're a bit more one-on-one and they're tackling really well. But for us, as I said, today is about us and trying to get our game style right and hopefully send Micky off with a good day.
And ironically, Ruzy, Ben Cousins against Sydney at the MCG again today.
Yeah, and these were the rooms in the 2005 grand final. I think the other ones were 2006.
Good on you, mate. It could be a good aim, and all the best.
Thanks a lot.
Micky O'Loughlin coming out with his children Taya and James, game number 300. And the Sydney Swans, I suppose, depending on what happens later today, could still be alive come tonight. But of course, their part of the contract is to win this game. So Sydney onto the ground. O'Loughlin has been a star. 300 games. Perhaps he's fallen away in the last month or so, perhaps the last season or so, but even so, he's one of the great Indigenous players of our game, Tim.
And he has been a champion of the Sydney Swans Football Club as well. Just one change for Sydney today. O'Dwyer comes into the side for his 3rd game. Small, nippy forward.
Shane, go well. Brett, your call on the toss. Heads is the call. Tails? No worries. Thanks, boys.
Chris Newman has won the toss, and Richmond kicked to the left of screen. Brett Kirk out there with him. Let's go down and join Ricky Olorenshaw. Ricky, I've just come from the rooms. It was a great feeling for Micky O'Loughlin.
Yeah, it was, Macca. A lot of former Sydney champions in the room, so it was a great feeling in there. Peter Bevan was in there, the 970 Brownlow medalist, also Tony Morwood, and also John Ron Grantel, who used to have the games record there at South Melbourne. Presented Micky O'Loughlin with his jumper, so it's a great feeling in the rooms. And now the Sydney Swan boys are gathering together, having their last-minute chat. You can tell that blood spirit is really with the Swans team today. One guy that wasn't in the rooms but will be watching today and doesn't watch much footy anymore is Tony Plugger-Locker. He's up there in the Southern Highlands, probably having a beer and tuning in to watch his former teammate, Micky O'Loughlin, star. I've never forgiven Plugger for kicking that point after the 96 preliminary final, though, boys.
You've got a long memory, Rick, and the young boy that's... look at this.
Look at that.
Yep.
There's the skipper Kirk there. And he just grabbed hold of Micky O'Loughlin's jumper and he was speaking to the players passionately about what today meant to him, to Micky O'Loughlin, what Micky O'Loughlin has meant to that group. I mean, just great stuff.
Sunday footy about to get underway then. Opening bounce. And a good one. On the way down, Jolly, who's had a good season, only as far as White, tackled by Matner.
Another really interesting matchup is Newman has actually gone to Kirk and is actually playing on Kirk. Now, that's not something that Kirk is accustomed to. Generally, he's the guy who becomes the initiator.
Jolly didn't find the footy. Edwards did. Got away through. Untidy hand pass. Nahas made it look okay. Awkward kick. Bounced it down towards the pocket. Leading back in the race, O'Keefe. Close to the boundary line, Rance in trouble, feeds a hand pass away, running out of space. Nahas taken by McVeigh, loops it over the top to Crouch. Crouch with a hurried kick to midfield, another bad bounce. Tambling's got it. Ablett took him down, slow to release, holding the ball.
Straight back.
So Ablett. Low kick looking for O'Loughlin.
The arm will fall still. No, other way. Go. Just whack his arm, Mick. Thank you, mate.
So the man of the moment gives away a free kick. Thursfield wide, looking for Revolt. With him, Craig Bolton, Tambling and Ablett. So a lot of matchups here. Jackson looks like he's got the job on Jude Bolton. He runs hard to the pocket. It was close to the line, just in and now out. And Post was the target. So Richmond, right forward pocket.
Free kick against Micky O, then just going for the arm of Thursfield. Good defensive positioning there from Thursfield.
So the boundary throw in. Jolly doing very nicely. In the road though, Jackson, Newman. McVeigh got a hand to it. Morton left it behind. Big scramble about 25-30 metres out from goal. And the umpire has called for it.
And this is the way Sydney play. They like to crowd the stoppages as much as they possibly can. They lack leg speed. They just try and turn it into a real scrimmage. Got a lot of contested ball this afternoon.
Graham did well down at Cousins. This would be a good way to start. Ben Cousins on the left boot.
Well, what a start for Cousins. 250 games all up today. It's been a long journey getting there.
Kieran Jack's gone to him too, Macca.
And look at that response, as you mentioned, Tim. So Tigers get the first.
Ryan O'Keefe holding out as a Jake King out 5 metres.
So O'Keefe with the free kick and going to Goods on a long lead. Lovely kick and a terrific mark.
Look, if he gets enough supply, I think he's going to be too big and strong for McGuan this afternoon. Also, Jake King has perfected this role in recent times, playing as that forward, that defensive role. He's actually picking up Reece Shaw, and his job will be just to stop that Reece Shaw run-off half-back for the Sydney Swans.
So Goods from 50, good-looking kick, just fading at the end and giving the post a big rattle. So the Brownlow medalists are the blokes that are kicking the scores right now, aren't they?
5 points the margin then. Goods are behind, and prior to that, Cousins a running goal. Newman, the skipper, to himself. From behind, Nahas a big leap.
Free kick. Too early, Robin.
Went against him.
On the full now.
Run off here.
Matner. Nobody stands the mark. Matner, well, not sure what he was thinking. Didn't run off and kicked it straight to Thursfield. Tambling's got it now. Weaves his way through to the opposite pocket. McGuan under pressure. Goods doesn't miss them. Didn't miss McGuan. That was terrific.
I just wonder that the umpire was actually behind that passage of play. How would he have seen how McGuan disposed of the ball here?
He just knows Goods' reputation. And he was right, Tim. Don't know an answer to your question.
Well, Lee Matthews has actually called for more umpires. Maybe we need to give the boundary umpires a whistle for next season.
Perish the thought. In comes Goods. Sets it to the goal square. Jolly under the football. Loose ball about 15 metres out. Nahas went at the footy. At the base of all of that.
Right footy.
Not quite sure. Jude Bolton, there he is, last man up.
Look at this, how different it is at this end of the ground. They've opened it right up to Sydney Swans' stoppage.
So Graham and Jolly in a bit of a wrestle. Moore's little give. O'Loughlin cleverly can't hook it back for a score, and bouncing away. White went to ground with Moore and a boundary throw-in. He'd love an early goal, obviously, O'Loughlin. It's been pretty hard going this year for him. He's played a lot of games consecutively now, which is good. He's had some...
Right footy, no pride.
It's a great idea to try and actually protect somebody around a stoppage. Two Sydney Swans players then went to try and take the Richmond player away, which meant that they weren't even going for the ball.
So Graham and Jolly. Jolly probably won it. McVeigh was looking for it. Kirk's handball okay. Ablett back to Kirk. Back turn was good. Tambling terrific. Just got the right touch. Bolton was into his back. No free. And now...
Ryan, ball in dispute.
That's it.
This has started like a typical Sydney game, has it not, Tim?
Yeah, no, it's been played on their terms at the moment. This is the way they like to play their footy. Paul Roux said during the week that they're a better one-on-one side now, Richmond. They've played more contested footy, and they'll be really tested out this afternoon.
O'Keefe's got the football. Graham's got him, and so too Jackson. rolls back to Graham. We'll have a ball up. Just thinking about more umpires, Tim, we could get to the stage where they start running into each other.
Yeah, no, the point that Lee was making, though, it's a good point. Basketball has 2 referees for a small little rectangular surface or ground. Or, Court. I was just going to leave it there.
Moore comes through and kicks a goal.
It's just his 4th game of the MCG, Moore, and his first goal. He's a goal-kicking nuggety forward. Swans by a point. Jolly and Graham. Jolly got it. Jackson, and he's tied up by Kirk. Down to you, Ricky.
Just an interesting thing at centre bounces, guys. Sydney Swans, they don't start any players up on the line at centre half before they play all their players out of the goal square, just creating some space at that centre bounce.
Edwards belting it forward. And then Hanbury running against the flow. Reece Shaw. Just worked off it by King. And well done there by Hislop getting through. And now again a ball up.
They've done their homework, haven't they, Sydney? They're just making sure that they tie up this really quick Richmond side. They're not giving them any time or space, trying to crowd them again. Look at the number of players around this stoppage.
Bounce goes away from the ruckman. Jolly tracks it. Hislop out of the congestion, down towards the pocket. Coming up is Matner, or rather Grundy it was. Hand passes across to Roberts-Thompson, then takes it back. Grundy's been in good form. He kicks it up towards the wing. Good mark, Tamblin. And speaking of men in good form, he's found his touch in the last couple of months. From the wing, honours the lead from Deledio. Hard against the boundary line. Well, he split the indifference. They stayed off him. He kicks it down towards full forward. Awkward half volley for post. Ricochets across towards Revolt. He paddles it forward. Bolton's over the football now, and I doubt it will come out. I suppose the question is, can Sydney keep this up on such a big ground? But the SCG, so often when you watch a game, it's like trench warfare. 2 players stayed off him, through he went.
Graham won the tap. Roberts-Thompson cut off. Cousins again, this time with the right foot. And Grundy can't get to it, so boundary throw in.
Well, it's a really good education. I know Sydney have got a young side out there today, but so too have Richmond. Now, if they want to be better at this contested footy, then who better to play than the Sydney Swans?
Jolly couldn't quite get to the contest. Hislop had first crack at it. O'Keefe tries to get through.
Tackled immediately.
So Jared Crouch and Nathan Brown. There are a couple of the more experienced players out there today. A couple of the guys that have played a couple of hundred. Kirk another. O'Keefe, good little give. Moore through heavy traffic. It's good kick in the end to Jesse White. Now, Good said no. He was running past and didn't want the little handball. O'Loughlin's on the lead. Good mark. Micky O back to O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer's kick to Goods is a very good one. Well done by McGuan, though.
Loose ball gathered by Morton. McGuan against the boundary line. Charged down. Well played by O'Dwyer. Gets it out of bounds. Good start for the young man. O'Keefe has found a lot of the football in recent times. Record stats for him. Hacked out of midair by McMahon, and it goes out of bounds.
He's been tagged to McMahon, so O'Dwyer's going with McMahon all the way. All those players that Richmond like to get free are going to actually come in for some real serious competition this afternoon. They're going to have run with type players, so it's going to be more difficult for them to get free and get open.
Pike and post. So the umpire's really working overtime at the moment. This is Sydney's game.
Yep. It's the way they love to play, Dennis.
Great experience for some of the youngsters in the Tigers team, particularly young Vickery. Bodies up there with post. Or rather Pike. It's hooked inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken by Goods coming up on the lead.
They're good, strong inside players too, the Sydney players that play around the stoppages. Once again, less players at that stoppage than at the other end of the ground for the Tigers. They're not bringing up their half forwards and their wings like the Sydney Swans are to make it more crowded in their back half.
No Tigers goal side there, and Bolton swooping through. Very good in that situation. Ball finishing up with this man, and Sydney finishing up with the goal.
Prominent early goods, and Jude Bolton so good at the clearances, winning it out to him. So Sydney get the lead back. Cousins kick the opening goal. Moore and Goods the couple for the Swans. Pike won the tap. Swans forward, Bolton again. Hanbury's handball. Jack's little kick to half forward. Good stretch by O'Keefe, not paid. Bolton bang crash. Ablett back into a hot spot. Jack's got to get rid of it in a hurry. He does. Pike goes back. Reece Shaw can load this up. He can't get the right angle though, and he sprayed it badly. They're so good in close quarters, the Swans. We saw a good example there where they just kept the footy alive.
Tamlin's got the footy up from the back pocket then, decides to run it across. King is very deep. Can he get the ball to him? He goes in that direction. That was a beautiful kick. Well, almost. Fell about a metre short. King backed off the foot. He goes to Cousins. Sold him into trouble. Shaw kept coming. Whistle, and it's going to be another Sydney free kick. It was another strong tackle on Ben Cousins. And guess who? Bit of a head clash there, but Goods, he really is proving a problem. Goes short. Well, intended for O'Keefe. Fisted away by Rand. Straight back to Goods, 50 metres out. That is an interesting kick. Tambling needs to punch, and he did. Rand's had it knocked away. Jack, spring heel. Jack gets through and kicks a goal.
At the moment, Sydney are just dominating in the area of contested footy. That's the way they like to play their footy. There was a defensive knock out to Goods, who just chipped that one in the air. I reckon he probably could have had a crack at a goal from there. He was inside 50. I think he was just being too unselfish. But there, Kieran Jack, who's playing on Ben Cousins, just finds himself in that part of the ground. And that's what they're really good at, the Sydney Swans players, just playing the ball on its merits. They get into their own half and they decide to become attacking players.
So Jack gets his first goal at the MCG. He's running with Cousins. So they won all. Daniel Hanbury, wearing Plugger's old number. He's playing his 4th game. He's created a big impression. Goes to school here at Xavier during the week and goes up for the last training session each week for the Swans. Jackson belting forward. Vickery running at it. Grundy, deft little touch back to Pike. Little give, okay. Bolton. O'Dwyer's look good. Kirk again in close quarters, and then Bolton gets it through. Ablett got a bad bounce. Newman with him. Cousins running hard, and away he goes. A second running bounce. He's wanting someone to present, and then goes down the line. He played it well, Cousins, and found Deledio. So Deledio.
Take your kick.
There's Polo up ahead wanting the football. Deledio along the line though. And this is Brown. Brown, kick towards the goal square. Coming from the goal square, Morton takes the tumbling mark.
That was a good kick. A really, really good kick to that space. That's really demanding something of your forward, isn't it? He's such a smart player, Nathan Brown. He's just saying to him, that's where you're going to mark the ball best. No one else was in a position to mark it. Only Morton could have taken that ball.
Hasn't he been a good pickup too, Morton?
He's been a very lively forward. I still reckon he's got a bit to go before he completes his game, but he's well on the way.
Take a good kick from here. Goes with the reverse. A little banana that misses to the near side. And the margin is now 12 points halfway through the term.
And that area that he needs to improve on is actually the quiet periods that he has in games of football. He's just got to make himself part of the game a bit more, Morton.
Oh, sorry, no. Free kick, straight on the line. It's on the kick-off line, plus 50. We'll be on the goal line. Interchange breach.
So you heard the umpire, interchange breach.
Well, Paul Roos is sitting up in the coach's box this afternoon, so maybe they're just losing, or maybe they're a little out of sorts without him down there on the bench.
So a gift for King and the Tigers.
So how about that? If you were sitting at the ground, I'm not sure you would know what the heck happened, but Kirk explaining his actions, and of course North Melbourne and Sydney played last year, and Sydney have only got themselves to blame for that last goal. Nahas McMahon running across half back, loops a hand pass. White has to wait, confronted, goes back looking for Tambling. Into the hands of Hanbury, who kicks towards the pocket. Off the hands of O'Loughlin. Now Goods, they stay off him. 35 metres out, deep in the pocket. And he kicks it behind.
How dangerous is he looking, Dennis, in this first quarter, though? Every time the ball goes inside 50, he looks like the likely candidate.
Having one of his best seasons, I think it's fair to say, this season too, isn't he?
Yeah. Obviously, they're trying to make him into a forward. Another mistake by Richmond.
So Moore from the pocket, hooking back. Bolton's the free kick, surely.
That's a good centre, isn't it? Good disciplined play there. Just put it back into that dangerous zone. It's amazing how many times just something eventuates when you pepper that part of the ground. Clearly a free kick.
So Bolton is also having another good year. It's hard to imagine a couple of years ago that he looked like being traded at the end of the season. He's come back well. He's missed that, though. That's a bad miss. Ricky, what happened with the interchange?
Well, Sydney Swans actually had 19 men on the field, and the reason why is because Ed Barlow just ran on the ground and no one had actually come off. So someone's actually forgot to tell this kid that you can only come on when a bloke comes off the ground. So they had one extra for that moment in time.
Well, they're going to have to tether them up. Kick in from the skipper Newman. Big pack off hands. Hand passing through was Bolton in the opposite direction, but good enough. O'Keefe directly at Revolt, who goes with the outside of the boot, bouncing down towards half forward, and Brown open forward line. Brown runs around, wants his left side, comes back now. Clever little hook, and the mark is held by Hislop.
She's a smart player, Nathan Brown. He is such a smart player. Then held onto the ball, almost looked like he'd done too much. Their kicking efficiency in Richmond has been woeful in recent weeks, but he is one player who gets hold of the ball. There's the error in midfield. O'Keefe actually had to lift his eyes a bit because they had another player, the Sydney Swans, in the middle of the ground who was free, and that forced the turnover. But this guy is just a wonderful player when the ball's in his hands.
Brown, not Hislop, but we're about to find out with Tom Hislop. Hard-working player from the Bombers initially. Kick is on its way, and he misses. That would have been handy because they're right off the pace at the moment. They're closer than perhaps watching this game has indicated.
Yeah, just small margin on the board, but in general play, you feel like the Swans have got the better of it right now.
Yeah.
So Matten's the target, and coming in Edwards. Big day for Nathan Brown, I reckon, Tim. I mean, I talked to Ricky about it before the game. He's
big month even, mate.
Yeah. If he can perform in a big match like this today, then maybe there's a chance. He's such an intelligent footballer. Things happen when he gets the ball, as we've seen so far today. Smith, Jolly, back to Hanbury, back to O'Keefe on his wrong side, but he gets it down the line. Goods and also McGuan. Well done, McGuan. That's a
good work.
First real win he's had today against Goods.
Come out!
That was a good mark then. Just used his body just to edge Goods underneath the ball.
So the Swans corralling him, and in there no one really on the mark has the confidence to come across the ground. Well done to Graham. Back in the team after a couple of weeks out. Patterson's been doing the ruck work. Tambling around the back and then goes wide. Hislop the target.
In the back.
So Barlow hasn't had a good start, has he? And then Brown again with that little dinky one, and King's got it.
He looks on, Nathan Brown. He really looks on. He's running hard for the ball to present as well.
Hislop, a centering kick from behind Revolt, in front, Deledio.
Just looking at Nathan Brown, I've been watching him for the last couple of minutes. He's working right over the forward line, working really hard to present. Now, the players upfield should be actually lowering their eyes because he's one player you would like to have the ball in the hands of. He's a good decision maker. He's a good executor. Each time he's touched the ball, it's gone to another Richmond player. They should be now focusing on trying to get the ball to Nathan Brown as often as possible.
Third possession for Deledio. This to make it a one-point game, and he comes. Point the difference. Sydney on top, but just.
So Deledio gets Tigers third, so back to a one-point game. Brown so important on that forward line. 3 kicks and resulted in a score from those 3 kicks. The first couple missed, that one getting home.
Back, Brett Kirk.
So Polo just falling for the trick there.
Do you like him from here, Bruce? Brett Kirk?
50-50, I reckon. He's a lot better from here than where he was, Tim.
He'll make the distance from here, you're right. What a warrior he's been.
Yep.
What a fantastic player.
He's actually the oldest guy out there today. He's about 6 months older than Micky O.
Well, 2 years ago when they gave him a 3-year deal, or Sydney gave him a 3-year deal, I really thought, gee, what are they thinking here? But he's easily going to play out a 3-year contract.
He's playing his 173rd consecutive game. He hasn't missed a game for 7 seasons, and then he's kicked the goal.
Kirk got that last goal, starting on the line of the square. Interesting, these centre bounces. I think they're playing into Sydney's hands because they've got 2 couples on either side, and they're coming in and generally just crowding things up, which Sydney want, and those players staying on the line are becoming influential players. This is O'Dwyer paddling it out towards that line. Now he goes wide down towards half forward. Jude Bolton battling there with Newman, and it'll be a free kick to Bolton.
Looks a
Bad luck for Newman.
Sorry, Dennis, I was just saying, O'Dwyer does look a player, doesn't he? They've been trying to inject a bit more pace into this side. He's certainly got some leg speed.
Bolton towards half forward. Off hands. Deledio showing dash tambling. Drives it towards the outer side, and Cousins. Jack and Cousins. This will be interesting. Cousins has got him. Couple of revolutions. Jack kept it going. Did well. McVeigh has the football. He's confronted on the outer side. Untidy hand pass as a result. Matner taken down by White inside the centre square. Umpire will bounce it.
Correct decision. Didn't have time to dispose of the ball here. Bang. What else could he have done?
So Graham and Jolyon over the top, Jackson, and then Jack. Good tackle from Polo.
That's it, Ryan.
So Polo's little kick to Morton within range.
They are the most important kick in AFL football now, aren't they? That first kick into that range where a player can actually take a shot from. And that was just a lovely, dinky kick, allowing Morton to run in on the ball. Very impressive, Richmond, the way they've answered the challenge, particularly the physical challenge from Sydney early in this game.
And that last minute was revealing, wasn't it, with that physical challenge? And both teams hard at it. So Morton can kick a long ball, and he didn't really get much of a run up there, and that's a very short kick to the top of the square, which is a dangerous position for the Swans. Kirk did well, and then O'Keefe against all the tide, and then Crouch tried just to sort of slap it away to somebody. Nahas will want a free kick here.
Never dragged it in. Just on the ground already.
Mako, that was a really strange kick then from Morton, because I thought he was well within his distance then. It was a half kick. He deliberately kicked it to the top of the square.
Did an Adam Goods at the other end. Here's Deledio. Jolly on hands and knees. Post. Grundy. Well done, Brown. Always dangerous, but couldn't quite get the angle. And that's a behind.
Brown 4 possessions now. Under 4 minutes till quarter time. Cousins has been busy. Although when you look at his stats, not as high as you would have thought. Short one comes across the ground. Cousins has only had the 3 possessions. I could have sworn he had more than that. Roberts-Thompson, meantime, up towards the wing. Oh, courage by the young man, O'Dwyer. Going back, oh, nice kick too. On the move, Ablett, can he get there? Well, he tried to. Courage the other way. Coming back was Newman, got a fist on it. Knocked it out of bounds.
There's a lot to like about this O'Dwyer kid too. The couple of times he's gone for the ball, he's looked really impressive. Kieran Jack is actually picking up Cousins head to head. He's actually leading. He's had 4 touches to Cousins 3, and he's kicked a goal.
O'Dwyer tracks it again towards the boundary, and it goes out of bounds.
It's okay.
I suppose we'll see Joel Bowden before the end of the season, will we, Tim?
He'll get a farewell game. I think round 20 they're talking about a farewell game against Collingwood here at the MCG.
Remarkable situation. Obviously the message clear to him. He's forgotten but not gone. There goes the kick from Bolton down towards full forward. Still a live ball about 20 metres out from goal. Ablett slides in. Rance is in there for Richmond.
You dived on it. You dived on it. You must knock it out immediately, Luca.
I'm presuming a Sydney free kick.
It is.
Against Rance.
He dived on it. He dived on it. Well, as a defender, do you really? You don't really want to be knocking that ball free, do you, as a defender? I mean, and he's still winning the ball, which is the #1 priority of our game, to have players going out there and being prepared to win the ball.
Doesn't pay to be a defender these days, Ted.
Not that part of the ground, it doesn't.
No. So Ablett, we're right behind him, has a sense of conscience.
That's their second bad miss too.
A couple of their hard-nosed guys, Ablett and Bolton, have missed a couple from close in, haven't they?
Thank you.
There's a new approach from Richmond on this kicking. They've just loaded one side of the ground, just opened up the zone a bit.
So Delidio the target, Jolly against him.
That's worked.
Edwards, terrific handball to release Vickery, and then Vickery through the middle to McMahon. McMahon's low ball, not a good kick.
His kicking lets him down, McMahon. That had to hit the target. That was a beautiful setup from Richmond.
Well, he's a bit stiff there, Hislop, because Matner was off. He thought he had turned Hislop inside out, but he impeded him.
It's not a bad part of the ground to give a 50-metre penalty away, though. They've got plenty of time to get back and just load their defence, pick up their men.
So Matner across the ground, gets it to Craig Bolton, and down the line. Good mark down low by Jolly.
Completely above the ground, just there. Just there, Tyron. Stay there. That's your mark.
And that was just a lack of concentration there by Morton too. He was guarding two players on that side of the ground, but he just had to get on the attacking side of those two players, and that would have stopped the run. As it was, they were able to open up this fat side of the ground.
And Tim, Craig Bolton, Matner and Jolly. Roosy's done a great job with all three from different clubs, hasn't he? They've hardly missed a game, those blokes. They just keep turning up and playing well. Jolly hooking, though, and missing. It's been one of the signature of Swans under Roos, is the ability to get players from other clubs and make them even better.
Bit unlike Jolly, that miss. He's a goal-kicking ruckman. He's got 16 for the season. Short one to Cousins in the pocket. Decides to play on now. Kicks it up the middle. Dying seconds of the term. This is a dangerous spot for Richmond. Well played there by Roberts-Thompson. Knocked it down to Goods. He's 52 metres out. And he misses to the right-hand side. Unlike Ben Cousins, to take that sort of risk, they probably should have kept coming down the line.
1 goal, 3 Goods in this opening term. He's promised to actually take the game apart. Hasn't quite done it on the board, but looking very dangerous. More backtracks. Well, they've got to be careful here, Richmond. Cousins. Probably in good hands with Cousins there. McMahon. He knows what it's like to have the footy close to the end of a quarter. Short. And Thursfield. And they look like they might be safe here. That one long and wide, and oh, so close to the line.
Race, 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 race. Thank you. That's the line.
So that's the line, and that's the quarter. Bit to think about. A couple of 50-metre penalties have played a part. One from the interchange, obviously, and another for Kirk. And Sydney with a bit more of the ball. Cousins getting busy late. Lachlan saw a bit of the action. Goods was the dominant forward in the first quarter, along with Brown at the other end. So quarter time, Swans leaded by 9 on Sunday Football from the G. So 3-3 to 4-6. Swans with plenty of the ball. Goods 1 goal, 3. And Jude Bolton with his 8 disposals, including a clearance or 2 that were pretty.
Start of the second term of the MCG. Both ruckmen missed it. Jolly kicks towards half forward eventually. Goods looking ominous. Not that time though. Polo over the top to Tambling. Tambling just forward of the wing. This is Graham running towards half forward. Unloads. Lurking at the back is Morton. Manoeuvring in front and taking a very strong mark is Roberts-Thompson. We've been impressed with Post, but he's got his problems with Roberts-Thompson at the moment. The kick goes to the outer side. Jolly lays it off. O'Keefe back towards the middle. Ablett inside the centre square. Plays on immediately. Jack is cruising past, and he hits O'Loughlin on the lead. O'Loughlin 55 metres out, Bacon square. They're all leading back. He goes looking for more. And the ball clears him. Not difficult to do, really, and goes out of bounds.
Real change in this game, too. Richmond have decided that they're going to double team Goods across half back. So Polo and McGuan have got the job there, which means that Sydney now have a free player at the other end of the ground as well.
And that was Smith at the start of that quarter. Graham, now O'Keefe. Little give O'Loughlin. Clever back to McVeigh, and McVeigh goes back to O'Keefe, and O'Keefe sprays it across. Disappointing result.
And what Paul Roos has to decide now is whether or not it is Smith who he wants to have as that free player across half back, whether or not he's going to be the player that's going to be the dangerous one.
So McMahon down to Brown. Asked to go Brown. Now he's going to backtrack and go to the fat side. Graham out there all on his own. Now he's going to use the run of Tambling. They do this a lot with Tambling. Nothing up forward for him. Cousins going short, and Tambling back inside to Thursfield, back to Tambling. Tambling works it wide. Dangerous kick. There's a good mark in the end, but it was set up for Jolly.
O'Keefe now just inside the centre square. Spears the pass to Moore. Turns around 35 metres out and misses by quite a margin.
He's been a busy player already in the second quarter. O'Keefe had 4 possessions already in this second term. Really good defensive play there by Sydney just to stop and hold up Richmond, and then eventually force the turnover.
Just running through some possessions there just before quarter time, talking about some of the experienced players, and you notice that in the Sydney game, possessions not quite as high as they normally are. Off the hands of Jolly, taken by Jackson. So many stoppages. Shaw has it. Now McVeigh, he can run down towards right half forward on the lead. Goods, and this time he does mark it. She's presenting. Out comes White. Goods found him.
Well, that's their future forward line, isn't it? You think about Goods maybe playing their centre half forward next year, and White developing still as a player coming out of the goals square. Of course, they've got to replace Micky O'Loughlin and Barry Hall, who's already retired.
I suppose when you look at the SCG, not the ideal ground for the centre half forward, but Goods is a unique player. This is White, and he comes. Kick is on the way, and he brushes the post. In the wake of Barry Hall, that man is the great white hope.
They should be 5 goals ahead by now, Sydney.
2 goals fired from set shots, Tim, and that, I mean, that wasn't easy, but a couple of the ones at the other end were.
They're just keeping Richmond in the game at the moment.
So Newman asked to play on here, and that kick found its target in the end. Ablett couldn't quite cut it off. Jackson puts Cousins under a bit of pressure, then back to Jackson. Cousins puts him under pressure, and then back to Newman, where it all started. Now Loughlin's got him, and that's a great result for the Swans.
Well, this defensive squeeze has been outstanding. What they're doing is they're playing a 15, 16-man zone, pushing right up on the Tigers and not allowing them any space whatsoever.
So Jolly and Graham couldn't quite get to it, and then Tambling in trouble. Gone, I think.
Try opportunity. Tackle was legal, then he ducked into it. Jared McVeigh. Jared McVeigh.
Again, great defensive pressure. There's the ball carrier Tambling. Almost slipped that first part of it, slipped over his shoulder, but here we go again. The arm there just going right around his neck. But incorrect disposal. He's getting the free kick and a shot at goal, and they really need to nail all these runs now, Sydney.
Well, you'd reckon that he's a pretty good guy with the footy, McVeigh, from this range. And
that's better.
Gets it.
So fair to say the Tigers in desperate trouble here. A tad unlucky. That tackle initially was high, despite the fact the umpire said he ducked into it. The replay showed that the right arm of McVeigh was over the shoulder of Tambling. 17 points the difference. Jolly doing well, knocks it down, taken by Newman. They've got to move it quickly. They've got to get some run, the Tigers. Towards half forward goes White, 65 metres out. Morton comes on the lead. That's better.
That's where he's at his best, on a lead, Morton. And Port Rouge has disallowed that free player behind the ball. So at the stoppage there at the centre bounce, they had 7 in their forward line, just 5.
Well, there's a complete breakdown. Polo, unattended 20 metres out, just turns around and kicks a goal.
That may be the guilty party right there.
Quite a bizarre goal in the end, wasn't it? So Swans had 7 of the 8 scoring shots prior to that goal, 2-5 to a point, and now Richmond on the scoreboard at least, certainly back in this game, back to an 11-point margin. Kirk getting it out after Ablett did some good work. Hennebury almost tambling with him, and now Cousins over the top. Terrific tackle. Tambling fetching it. Goes through Matner's legs. Ablett held up in the tackle, but he's gone. Well done, Newman.
Good sign there too. 4 Richmond players, first to the ball, 1 Sydney Swans player, so they've upped their work rate.
So Newman, who got a clearance a moment ago. Nice kick. Edwards, who's been impressive in the last month, playing as a running defender, gets around Kirk, gets away from McVeigh. Awful looking kick off the boot. Bolton did pretty well. Goods in the back half for the moment, and then Goods away. That's a lovely kick to Matner.
And half-back Matner.
Pike was out here on his own, but I think the team rule at this stage is don't kick the ball to Pike.
Well, I think Matner saw that Vickery was coming off the bench as well, and sneaking up behind him. This is Ablett. Penetrating kick. O'Loughlin in best position, showing courage. Thursfield, hand pass from White. O'Loughlin looking for a free kick, putting the body in Polo, squeezing it out. Hanbury in trouble. Matner got it across to Goods. He was in defence moments ago. Down goes Thursfield, and the umpire whistles. A free kick is going the Tigers' way. McMahon to take it. Pretty hectic in there.
See, there's a lot of players after that passage of play too, just standing there with their hands on their hips.
Goods, didn't he? Run hard from half back to half forward. Vickery in trouble. Going over the top, Kirk. Fighting 2 of them. Did brilliantly. Got it out to Moore. Hurried kick close to the boundary line. Across comes O'Dwyer. It bounces away from him.
This game's all about learning from your mistakes. Now, one mistake that Vickery just made was trying to get around Kirk. You just don't get around Brett Kirk. His tackles stick. Terrific play. 1-on-2 then.
And good stuff by Kirk. So Pike and Vickery.
This is being held by you, Kieran. Hold him.
So against Jack, Cousins.
They're rising to the challenge, Richmond Macca.
Yep.
Right there, Pyro.
Tambling. Revolt. Ricky, down to you, mate.
Well, the most nervous man out there has to be the Sydney Swans interchange steward. There was nearly another infringement a few minutes back when Mike Pike stepped out of the interchange box, and the steward had to almost lay a bear hug to stop him from going over. And then the AFL official actually went out to chat to the steward to say, just get your eye on it.
Gee, that's dangerous. Now, Rance is hurt. He came off the interchange bench, and he had Smith dead to rights. Meantime, the game is going on down near the goal square. McGuan under pressure. Tackle laid by White. Ball jarred free. Tambling. That's ambitious. He's holding the footy.
Rance has gone off the ground.
Legal disposal. That wasn't.
Just about the self-same position where he broke that cheekbone. Stormed onto the ground. Was going to lay the tackle.
Bang. Left himself open though too, didn't he? I reckon he's got a hip in the ribs there.
Nick Smith didn't know he was coming until the very last stride. Bolton, meantime, runs around and kicks a marvellous goal. What a beauty by Jude Bolton.
That's Mickey's little daughter, Taya. Micky O'Loughlin we're talking about. So Brett Kirk and Micky O'Loughlin in the interview at half-time. We've had a sneak preview. It's a good one. Here's Delidio. Well done. Good kick too to Brown.
3 metres. Thanks, Jared.
So Brown to Newman. Now he can kick a goal here. He got a bit too close to the man. Now he doesn't. Now he goes around. Can he get enough on it? No, he just overplayed it in the end. I reckon the first instinct should have been banged from 55.
Yep.
Good play there by Sydney again, though, to come at the ball carrier. Just put him in a little bit of indecision, just took a little bit of time off him, and in the end he had to hurry the kick.
Get it back in quickly to O'Dwyer, who we've liked. He's at half back. Margin 16 points. Feels like more. O'Dwyer to Ablett. And that's good news for the Tigers. They're still hanging around here. Ablett against the boundary line, looking to the middle and decides to come down the line. Goods will fly. No, he doesn't. Didn't get to the contest. Loose ball at the back. Hanbury, brilliant pickup. Will go long towards White. White will get a free kick. As simple as that.
Blocking. Once you turn against the footy, Kelvin, it's a free kick. It's a block. It's a block.
Moore was in desperate trouble the moment that left the boot.
He was, and the difference there we saw a moment ago, Newman, when he was carrying the ball, actually held onto the ball. On that occasion, Hanbury just released the ball straight away. So the defender is under enormous pressure the moment the ball leaves the foot of Hanbury.
So Jesse White hit the post a few moments ago, comes in and kicks this goal.
Well, Alex Rance is back on the ground. He did come back on with a little bit less enthusiasm this time. Last time he came on, he got absolutely poleaxed. He was winded for a period of time. The doctor checked his sternum, but he's all okay, and he's back in the Richmond back line.
So 50-28. Plenty of Tigers in the back 50 at the moment. Cousins doing well. In fact, they're getting a few clearances at the moment, Richmond. But that one cut off by Shaw, and then Goods on a long searching lead. He's such a presence, Goods. And then nice kick to O'Dwyer.
He's neat, this player, isn't he, O'Dwyer?
Played a couple of games last year against Carlton and the Crows in the middle of the year. And back in.
Paul Roos said early in the season that they may try some experimentation later in the year if they thought that their final eight side or their final eight chances had disappeared, and that's exactly what they've done. And you've got to think that they're already starting to build for next season, and they're going to turn players over. They're going to see what they've got, and maybe they're going to find some nuggets.
Well, White's been doing a great job in recent weeks, and that one just to the right of the post. Kicked 4. White in the game against Carlton, and then 3 against the Saints, and he's become a real focal point up forward.
Moore plays on. Edwards, he gives them run, needs to take them on, but his disposal sometimes lets him down. Put on the rebound, O'Dwyer got it from Bolton. Bacon square, the ball runs towards it, but then breaks towards the pocket. So Moore will do it again. They've got 2-on-1 up towards the wing. Takes a while to release the footy. Hislop. Well, that was a nothing kick. Graham was closer to the boundary. Needed to kick it beyond the pair that were to Graham's right and give him best play on the ball. Sometimes when he's running, bouncing the football, I think he loses his bearings a little bit, does Edwards, and they pay for it. But geez, a good ball getter. Gets it again. Cousins in trouble. Back to Edwards. Edwards dragged as he kicked, scrambles it towards midfield. White running past now. McMahon looks inside the forward 50. Coming at him is Brown. Off hands, a chance for King. Terrific tackle. Shaw got him down.
See, it was so important then that McMahon hit that kick. Here it is. McMahon breaking through the centre of the ground. Just too much elevation with that kick. Had to be lower. Brown was in front of Crouch, who's in the best position, but in the end it was Crouch that was in the best position because of the kick.
Opportunity missed, and now McMahon gets another crack, and that one's out on the full.
You won't get that many opportunities against Sydney where you're actually breaking free. You're running through the centre of the ground and you're a 1-on-none. You've just got to make sure that you make the right decision, and when you do make the right decision, that you actually execute perfectly.
The Swans doing well with Crouch getting it from Craig Bolton. Now the switch might be onto Barlow here, and then Hanbury's going to be on his own as well. Well, Barlow is having a bad day, Barlow, at the office, but we're okay now. Now Hanbury finally gets it from Bolton, and now Moore. Kicked the opening goal for the Swans today. It's got O'Dwyer on his own in the centre. Moore decides to go down the line. Goods and jolly, not a bad idea. And well done by Jack. Terrific. O'Loughlin inside Smith. O'Loughlin's lovely kick to White.
That was a beautiful crumb there by Jack, wasn't it?
Yep.
Full pace.
He's been as damaging as Cousins has on the ground today. They're going head to head, but that was just a wonderful crumb. And a lovely, see, that's the difference. There's the kick from O'Loughlin, takes the pace off the ball, kicks it too wide. At the other end of the ground, McMahon actually kicked it to the Sydney defender.
1 goal, 2 to White today. That's looking good off the boot. So he's got his second, and the Swans are away now.
So White is looking dangerous. He certainly presents a big target down there, and that's in stark contrast to some of the leading players at the other end of the ground. And so far in the game, Sydney 50 more possessions. When you break that down, that's about 4 quality players playing well to this point in the game.
Advantage play.
Advantage is paid. Hislop comes away, swings it out wide. Graham, McMahon, Brown confronted, forced to kick with his right foot. Cousins hard running down towards right half forward, holds up.
She worked hard to get to that ball.
Cousins low down. Oh, that was a good pass. I'm not sure it's in position A. Well, it isn't as much as it was on Morton's chest, but a difficult kick in the pocket.
That's where he's been getting his kicks, Dennis, today, Morton, hasn't he, in difficult angles.
Now, will he go for the check side, Dennis, or will he go for the drop punt?
Well, on exposed form, you'd have to think check side and or a pass. He's gone for the pass, and why not to McMahon? He plays on 52 metres out. Well, not a sense of deja vu with the kick. In front, Smith at the feet of Moore, strong tackle on Brown. A bounce about 35 metres out.
Look at Sydney, they've just loaded the back half now. Every player is in the Richmond half of the ground at the moment. A lot of players around this stoppage. This is the way they like to play.
Terrific bounce. Jolly probably won the tap. Morton tried to snare it. Jack tried to get a kick away. Brown was there. Deledio, Cousins in heavy traffic. Gets a little bit on it. Bouncing ball. Shaw had time. Looks up. He's got a wall of players in front of him. It's a pretty good kick, actually. And O'Loughlin honours it with a terrific mark in the back half.
They're out of position now. It's just going to have to hold the ball up. They're just going to have to be patient going forward again. They get themselves into position. They run hard forward, the Sydney Swans, and they set up.
Yep. You described it perfectly, Tim, and Goods on the end of it. Then Goods down the line.
Hand on the back.
It's a proven way of playing. Even if you look at St Kilda, the way St Kilda are playing now, they may have made some advancements in terms of their frontal pressure and their full ground zoning and all that type of thing, but pretty much it's the way that Ross Lyon with Paul Roos had Sydney playing. I mean, there are a lot of similarities.
Bolton to the outer side. Hanbury.
2 metres, Matt. 2 metres.
Looks every centimetre a player, this young man. Taking his time. Told to play on now. Going for distance, and why not? They're winning these battles. Over the top, almost White. Opportunity, McVeigh. Goods just missed him. Out of bounds by Moore. They're monstering Richmond at the moment. They're just too big and too strong, and the Tigers are reeling. It's like watching The Undertaker against Rey Mysterio Jr. and Rey's done a hammy. Boundary, throw it in the pocket. Jolly slaps it down. Goes after it. Ablett, the beneficiary, went to ground. And the umpire will ball it up. No, it's holding the ball.
Now, this is where they've had real trouble, though, getting a break from here and moving the ball with any fluency. Now they're out.
And Edwards would like to run with it, as we know, but now uses Cousins. Cousins, that hard running. King almost. Good effort by Bolton again, and then Shaw's tackle looked a bit high. Jack inside to Kirk. Kirk's little give to Jolly to Bolton, working hard, and then Bolton up, coughed it up. Who was the good guy, Den, the Undertaker or Ray?
Both of them okay.
Okay,
just
enough.
different sizes though, Bruce. Yep. Undertaker big. Ooh.
Sounds scary, the Undertaker.
No, his manager was scary, Paul Bearer.
Go back inside.
I'm just computing all of this. Here's Jackson. Off one step, good kick to King.
That was well worked. They're half a kick away now from a goal.
And they need one, Tim. They need a couple before half-time.
He can't kick this, so he's either got to set it up or they're going to go back outside the ring.
Now, Newman, if he was on the burst, you'd say he could kick this, but he's too far out now from a standing start. Jolly's gone back to the goal square, and just in case he decides to load up. No, they've gone wide and they're back to where they were. In fact, I reckon King's further out.
He's further out now. And Sydney have got more players now in their defensive 50. They've set the zone up. Very difficult to penetrate here.
So King bought a couple of metres and then loads up. Jolly's back there. And big fly came from post.
Oh, no.
Is that a goal? It is, I think. Rance has got it.
Alex Rance, high draft pick, 12th game, first AFL goal. His dad didn't kick too many either. So there's still a pulse. Long way to go in the game. Graham, Vickery, so both the big men on to finish this term. Jackson, haven't seen a lot of him. Nasty collision involving two Swans. Deledio to Brown. Kicks with the right boot, floats it down towards the square. Roberts-Thompson has been the master of that duel. Too good for post. Short one. Precise. O'Keefe comes away. Magna, they've got a man on in Bolton. Just under 3 minutes to go. Bolton backtracking. Magna coming at him. Decides to bypass him altogether. And why wouldn't you? The mark to Goods to the square with intent. Ablett takes the mark 5 metres out. That was wonderful movement of the footy.
There's Crouch just limping from the ground after that collision, that mid-air collision. Here's Matner going back with the fly of the ball. That is so courageous to do that. That's what you expect from a defender, to become that third man up. But in the process, his injured Crouch, he got up okay, set that goal up, or he set that kick up to Goods, who's just been a thorn in Richmond's side in this first half of football.
Bruce made a good point about the players who have gone to Paul Roos and succeeded. He gets a certain type of player. Players with big hearts and courage.
Jared Crouch getting a fair bit of attention on the bench here, boy. You see the pitch there. He's got a massive corky inside of his right thigh. You can see they've applied an ice pack, so it'll be a fair bit of work for them over half-time to get him back out here for the second half.
Thanks, Rick. Cousins doing well in these centre clearances, and that's a good kick. Hislop hard at it, and then running Rance. He waited for it to bounce. He might kick a second, though. Had a good chance there.
Just not able to turn his left shoulder inward nearly enough to get the bend on the ball that he designed. Jade Rawlings got a lot to concentrate on now at half-time. I mean, it can't come quickly enough for Richmond just to make some changes and try and get some structure back into the way they're playing, because everything is going the Sydney Swans' way.
They've only had one bigger first half in terms of the scoreboard this year, the Swans. That was against Port Adelaide when they got the flying start at the SCG. Dwyer to Jack. He's been good, O'Dwyer. Jack Cousins, terrific duel. And then Jack goes to the pocket. White's the target. Oh, good, well done by Polo. Filled the hole, took the knock, and now rewarded with the footy.
Short one. Nahas. Haven't seen a lot of him today. McMahon. Now Rance is offering, but that's a dangerous kick. Acknowledging that. McMahon bypasses Rance. Good mark taken by Tambling.
She's got a good pair of hands, Tambling. He's a wonderful mark overhead.
He's got all the bits, hasn't he? It's just, does he bring them on the same day?
That's right.
Kicks
they don't always
towards,
compute.
No, they don't. King lays it off. Nahas left it behind. Rance in trouble. Rance. King finding a way through. Well, almost. Hand pass in desperation. Gone. Holding the footy.
Their tackling pursuit has just been wonderful in the first half of the Sydney Swans. They've just stopped Richmond from getting any time, any space whatsoever.
Mike Pike, the tackling Canadian. He sounds like a wrestler. Kicks inside the forward 50. White goes up and takes a mark.
That was strong, wasn't it?
Oh.
Now they've got real problems in their key defensive posts.
Now, he might be a dentist because we couldn't show you his face momentarily, but I knew it was Jake King. Don't worry about that. Two feisty customers. Shaw and King. Meantime, White causing major problems. He's going at his third. He's just too big down there, but again he lets them off the hook, hangs it out to the right. The siren for half-time. Shaw being led away. King A Pyrrhic victory as far as the Tigers are concerned, because they're being thrashed at the moment. On the scoreboard, it's a little flattering. Sydney a 9-10-64, Richmond a 5-5-35 on Sunday Football. And coming up shortly, we continue that conversation. Meantime, Richmond have a lot of problems at the major break here at the MCG. 9-10-64 to 5-5-35, the margin 29. Micky O coming out. It's game number 300. O'Loughlin has been a star. 300 games. He's one of the great Indigenous players of our game.
Yes, here. And at half-time, Swans lead it by 64-35. So it's a 5-goal game. Micky got a few touches in that second quarter. He's one of a dozen players who's played 300 games and kicked over 500 goals. So the Swans sitting on a good lead here, and we caught up with Micky during the week, and who better to talk to him than Brett Kirk?
Mick, you're about to play your 300th game this week. It's a huge achievement, not only personally, but our footy club.
You know, I'm still pinching myself, mate. It's, as I've mentioned, all the great players, and it's just, I still can't believe it.
Madge, you grew up in Salisbury, back in Adelaide, tough suburb to grow up in. How hard was it to come into a place like this, the Harbour City, and really try to fit in?
Mate, get it right. It's Salisbury North, mate.
Sorry, Bruss.
I was homesick a lot, was ringing home every day, but it was, you know, I really sort of want to succeed.
Wonderful mark by the veteran.
I know your mum, she's a beautiful person. She was obviously a big influence as well for sticking around.
My mother's probably the biggest influence on my career, and it was just trying to, you know, do the right things and make sure that, just to try and make her proud of, you know, that her son's sort of doing something with his life.
Is there any particular moments in time for you that if you could have a bottle, put him in the bottle, put the top back on, screw it up, and then occasionally take it out and have a little sip occasionally? Is there something that you have really vivid in your memory that you'll always remember?
You wish you can take your mates with you. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I think the friendships and that I've made along the way is probably going to be the most important thing for me when I walk away from the club.
I'm always going to be your mate, brother.
Yeah, you're one of the best, mate. You're one of the best.
Hey, what's the future hold for Kevin O'Loughlin?
I'm definitely going to get a... Thanks for mentioning my middle name as well.
I thought I'd get that in there.
I'm definitely going to be involved with the Indigenous side of things. If I can have an impact with that, it's certainly going to go a long way, and somewhere where I think I can help.
Mick, you've given so much, and you've still got so much to offer to everyone out there, mate. Love you like a brother. And yes, Michael Magic O'Loughlin, champion player, an even better person.
Start of the third term, thumped out of there by Jolly. 2 hands in the back on King. No free kick. Kirk's got it. Sydney move it forward inside the 50. Goods was held approaching that ball. No free. Slapped out of there by Post. We've called it pretty well, Tim. He's gone back in defence and he's dragged down.
Well, he's a very good centre-half back at junior level. Took more marks than the other player in the under-18 competition. The other part about that passage of play that I really liked was his follow-up to the ball. Hit the ball, still went after it at the ground level.
Vickery backing off. Jolly going with him, looking to cramp the young man. Vickery did OK, although exposed wide of the pack. O'Keefe gets the footy. Dragged down in the nick of time by Deledio. Plenty of Tigers around the ball now. A little 1-2 Tambling, got it from McMahon. Post just got free, goes back to Tambling. I've got a feeling this is going to end badly. Jack is through. Jack going goalward. It did end badly.
Gee, was good on his feet there, Jack, with a couple. Gary March, the president of Richmond. So not a great day for the Tigers here. Jade Rawlings, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw in the 7 games so far. They've won their last couple. They've been used to some close games, the Tigers. A draw, 5 points and 4 their last 3, but today they've been blown away.
Holding the ball. You had an arm free, Matt. You had an arm free. Straight back.
I just feel like Sydney rejuvenated over the last 2 or 3 weeks and could have a say in September, the way they're playing right now.
And you just about get the feeling Richmond's spirit's just about being killed off as well.
Yeah.
McVeigh, Goods work to the front. O'Loughlin tried to get rid of the man. Well done by Tambling. O'Loughlin still got a kick away. Goods had a lovely little touch there. And then on the up to O'Keefe. O'Keefe under pressure, and that's out on the full. You think back, Tim, to last Saturday night. If the point had been the other way and they'd beaten the Saints, and gee, they'd nearly been the 8 tonight.
Not sure if he got much of the fist on that ball then, Goods, when he got it across to O'Keefe either.
Little throw, I think.
So Edwards in the back pocket. And the Tigers reeling at the present time. Thursfield from half back.
Oh.
That's a terrible kick. Well, Vickery was moving on. Thursfield was dropping it in short.
He wasn't watching the flight of the ball then, though, Vickery. I mean, he's a young player. He's going to get better than that. But you actually just do have to play the ball on its merits.
Bit of hair there too, Tim. It's hard to look back over your shoulder. Dwyer's got it. Kicks inside forward 50. McVeigh from behind. Got it in front. Taken by Kirk. Upended. Here's Jack again deep in the pocket. He's got a sniffers, Jack. Puts it across the front of goal. And it bounces out of bounds. Like the looks of Jack. Only his 44th game. He really has adapted. There he is. That last goal he got was like a sobbing woman armed with a harpoon gun going into a sports bar. You knew it was going to end badly. Tossed in. Slapped out of there by Jack. Well done. Barlow went to ground. Stealing away with it to Ledio.
Running hard here. Kicks to centre wing to Hislop. And also Roberts-Thompson. Well done in the end. Grundy decided to stay with his man, and then Hislop's kick is a good one. Brown probably should have taken it. Jim Matten has done well here. He likes the situation, Matten, to run hard, keeps the ball down low. White the target in a good spot. Ablett couldn't quite get a handle on it though, and Thursfield got a hand in there.
Line.
And the ball up.
Straight up. Yeah. Straight up. Thank you. Run home.
So Matten are able to take that away. That would have been a dangerous bar. Jolly. Second give. O'Dwyer. McMahon's tackle. Cut off well by Hanbury. Back to McMahon. Now he looks up. Oh, that's very dinky. Brown up to it. Goes back to Deledio. And then Deledio with a low kick. Morton couldn't quite. It was a tough ball to mark, but he made good position. And then Craig Bolton working it in front. He'll be happy for it to run out, and it does.
It was a really tough ball to mark, but that first kick from McMahon, how many times have we seen this today where he's made kicking errors just too low? I mean, look, he puts Brown under enormous pressure to pick the ball up. He did well to do that, but he should have been able to just go back and set something up by foot.
Moore missed the football. Cousins in desperate trouble. McVeigh has it now. Back to O'Keefe. Up from the back pocket. Goes to the outer side. Coming up. Bounces off the chest of Hanbury. Keeping it in. O'Dwyer falls into the back though of Newman. Newman gets the free kick. And the crowd becoming a little frustrated. The Tigers taking a step back so far this afternoon. Morton forced to spoil from behind Gundy. Grabs it. Pulls it across the face of goal, and it goes through for a behind.
Mickey, what's the situation, Rick, with Crouch?
Well, he's actually on the bike at the moment, Bruce. I reckon his day's over. They've put a compression bandage on his side. You can see they're trying to loosen up, but the signs what I've seen, his day's over. And also Jude Bolton, I mentioned at half-time. He came off after about 3 minutes of this quarter and wanted some more treatment on that hip complaint I mentioned at half-time.
Well, that's a real problem for them down to rotation. So the Tigers just really need to hang in here.
Tambling's kicked to a bit of a hot spot. Kirk got involved. Little give was okay from White to Cousins. Then Cousins, well done, Reece Shaw. Got a fist away to Tambling. Can he get enough on it? He won't. Mattner back.
That's such good defensive play there by Mattner. Just saw that there were enough players up at the contest, just drifted back into the hole.
But as Rick said, they might be 2 down, the Swans. Trouble with Richmond, they're probably 2 down on the scoreboard. If they were within 2 or 3, you'd think they could be dangerous. They're probably too far back. Grundy loping out of defence, 3 running bounces, and then kicking along to O'Loughlin. It was a lovely kick, good give, and gives it to Goods. Still not much of a kick by Goods.
Good play, Moore.
It's quick off the mark, Moore, and now Polo.
Polo, spare man on the wing, comes to Brown. Up quickly, Shaw closes him down. Brown spots King, needs to go here, gets to the footy a metre in from the line.
King's been playing on Reece Shaw as a defensive type forward. I'd drop that now. I mean, King actually could go on the ball and become quite a powerful player for the Tigers. They just need some hard nuts in there.
Well, he did well then, King. Brown, a beautiful kick, laid it in front of him. King hit the deck. Morton wants to fight Roberts-Thompson. I wouldn't recommend that.
Thanks, that's
What
fine,
about the
buddy.
weight on that kick? It was just perfect.
It was like a quarterback's throw to a wide receiver, wasn't it? Just laid it in front of him. The man had to go and get it.
Montana to Jerry Rice.
Sort of.
20 seconds.
Bit rich for Richmond, but that was good. King. That's a nice kick. That's a beautiful kick. A regal kick. He puts it through. They needed that.
First time he's kicked 2 goals in a match. King got one in the opening quarter. Shane Tuck.
Well, he is an inside player there next to Rains, next to Troy Simmons. I reckon they miss his strength around the stoppages, Tuck.
He's been out for the last 3, admitted, after playing 100-odd consecutively, Tuck.
Well, they want some speed. That's what they've tried to inject into this side. But there's a real balance that you need to achieve with your midfield. You need your inside players as much as you need the outside players carrying the ball. At the moment, I reckon they've got the wrong balance, Richmond.
Just feel they're a goal away, though, Tim, from maybe making this interesting. Remembering that Crouch and Bolton are in trouble. Well done by Moore to Pike. Back to Moore. His strength got him through, and then O'Keefe. He's got goods on. That's a lovely kick.
It's hard on a kid, isn't it, playing on a superstar player like Adam Goods, but the experience will be worth it for Jaden Post this afternoon. Now, he may get a toweling up by Goods, but he's done that in the first half to a more experienced player too. That is, talking about weight on a kick, that is just perfect. He lost his man there, Post.
Well, he's just kicked the 1 goal, Goods, but he's looked so dangerous today. He'd had more disposals than any other Swan in the first half, playing from centre-half forward. 1 goal, 3. He's kicked 27 for the season. He's got that, and well, I guess it's a steadier in a way. They maintain this big advantage.
They've had quite a few dominant players, but he certainly is the most dominant. Adam Goods with 2 goals, and they skip away. Out by 34 points now. The margin was 29 at half-time. Good bounce to restart. Graham taps it down. Nahas hasn't been a factor. And the umpire, I think, will ball it up again. It's not coming out. Jude Bolton at the base of that. You made a very good point, Tim, about Tuck not playing. I mean, this, when you're playing Sydney, is all about having a street fight, isn't it?
Yep.
And they don't have the players in to win a street fight on what we've seen today. Having said that, the Tigers have had a very good record against Sydney in recent times. Falling to the ground, Smith at close quarters to Ablett. Another bounce.
You've got to recognise the mood of the game, and the mood of the game right now is that they've got to find some Richmond players who are prepared to really work hard inside the contest, start winning the ball, and then you can start spreading the ball once you've actually got your hands on it.
This is a Tuck sort of game, isn't it?
It is. It's exactly what you need a Shane Tuck in your side for.
Rance.
Oh, hell.
Takes them on. At least they've moved it quickly to the outer side. Nahas needs to go forward, not back. Lays the ball into the path of Tambling. Now, this could be interesting. Tambling runs away from Ablett, corralled. Ablett did brilliantly, came back into the contest, smothered the ball across to Smith, swings it beyond the wing, and again, the difference in kicking. Goods took the mark. O'Loughlin's on a lead, and he takes the mark just inside the centre square. Shaw is running towards goal. O'Loughlin, a little indecisive, just puts it in the air to White, and he'll mark it. Oh, well, he should have. Through his fingertips. Vickery goes back, close to the boundary line, Vickery. He wants this out.
He was lucky then, Vickery. Here's a great smother here. Great one-on-one play here by Ablett. Just watch this. Just stays with the ball. I reckon that's been one of the great developments in the game of football this season. How many times have you seen players actually smother a ball like that?
So Moore running onto this. Couldn't quite keep his feet. Got it back to O'Dwyer. Gee, that's an interesting kick. Wow.
He's hurt himself more too. That was a 3-on-1 then, though. Sydney in their forward line, outnumbering Richmond at the actual contest.
Tigers got a good result in the end. Free kick. Wide to Jackson. Tim talked about Jackson, 8 disposals to half-time. Gee, put White under pressure. He was another one of the guys who was down in the first half, and O'Keefe's got him.
Just don't break their tackles. But that's, I mean, really, that's the error of Jackson not hitting the target in the first place, then put White under pressure. And we've seen that too many times this afternoon.
Well, O'Keefe started a bit sloppily today, but he's just got better and better, and he has been hitting targets today. And that's very good. And Micky O'Loughlin gets his first chance today, really, to have a shot for goal.
He has become a real weapon, hasn't he, O'Keefe, with his field kicking. Here's the kick, the poor kick here by Jackson. He was running one way and he actually tried to kick the ball back a little bit the other way, so all his weight, and he imbalanced himself, but that's a beautiful kick to O'Keefe, to O'Loughlin on the lead.
He's played 36 games at the MCG, Mickey, including those famous grand finals, 3 of them. He's kicked 66 goals here, so he's averaged close to 2 goals a game. Is that coming back? It is not making the distance, though. Polo.
Right, 3-on-1. Think your way through.
Polo. That's okay so far. Edwards beat one man and then settled son and used the footy. Well, that's a terrible kick. O'Dwyer. O'Keefe. Grundy. Bolton. Bolton's. Craig Bolton kicks inside the forward 50. O'Loughlin from the side. His ball always can just play on. Moore was on the ground and 2 Tigers 5 metres away. Didn't bother picking up the mark.
There's a bit of O'Loughlin for Sydney and oh dear for Richmond there, wasn't it?
Oh dear for Jade Rawlings too, because it's unravelling here at the MCG.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been a 300th without a Micky O gem, and we got one there. So Sydney certainly away now, doubling the score. Deledio, Newman squeezing it out. Good mark, Roberts, Thompson. It's got a very good match.
They just haven't been able to penetrate at all into their forward line, have they?
Well, the man he's on, I don't think's had a disposal. Has he, Revolt?
One touch.
One touch, OK. So Smith wide. Hanbury.
Who are they?
McVeigh.
Smith to Hanbury, 2 kids spot on with their kicks.
Oh, well done, Vickery. Unfortunate there. Now Goods, well, he can stroll in and kick his 3rd, and he does.
Revolt just coming from the ground now, just 1 possession. He's got to do more than that. He's got to, at least, if he can't get the ball, you've got to get involved in the game. That's a sickening collision, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Vickery off the ground. Oh, jolly, terrific. O'Keefe, McVeigh, Shaw behind. Goes out very wide. Hanbury. Like the look of him. Hanbury just forward of the wing. Hugs the boundary with the kick. Not his best kick. Falls behind. O'Keefe just wrenches it away from Deledio. Got boot to ball while lying on the ground. Scrambled forward by Ablett. Missed by post. O'Loughlin. Now a chance for Barlow. Can't count that as a possession. Jack. Stolen away by Polo. Well done. Now Morton runs towards centre half back. Cousins, their best player. Kicks beyond the wing. Matner. Well, he should have punched. A little cocky there. Hislop got the ball on the ground. Morton followed up. Kicks inside the forward 50. And going back, it's gathered by Morton. Grundy. And Sydney bring it out.
To Matner. Finds that left foot. And then Jack uses Shaw. He's got a couple of options, Shaw. He's gone wide to Hanbury again. Good mark. First game of the MCG. What a future you reckon he's got. Craig Bolton long to Goods. Well, it's a commanding performance. This Indigenous player plays his 250th against Geelong next week, Adam Goods, and his great mate Micky O's playing his 300th today.
They can smell blood in the water though now, can't they, the Sydney Swans? You get that feeling that they all want to get involved in the game now, and they're running hard forward. They're sensing that they've got Richmond on their knees.
Well, if the Dockers were happen to have some success today against Port Adelaide, the Swans would be sitting at the foot of the 8 tonight and looking a bit lively. And he's kicked 4 Goods, 3 in this term.
Adam Goods unstoppable. 4 goals, his best here at the MCG. Of course, his career high, 8 against Fremantle in round 19 last season. He's a round 19 man. Pike wins it down. McVeigh wrestled down by White.
Good tackle, tackled immediately.
Adds a little
Thanks,
mustard.
boys, straight up.
Ball up.
When they played so well against St Kilda last Saturday night, I just thought it was one of those one-off type performances where they'd got themselves up for a game. But they've carried that form over into this game, and I mean, they've looked as impressive today as they have all year.
Matner towards half forward. Goods again. Post out manoeuvred by Goods. Well done. Hanbury, well, chopped off by Newman towards the boundary line, and out it goes. Interesting, one Swan player is having a down day. That's Barlow. Just the one possession so far, but he's on the ground. He got his wish. He was eager early. He lost that goal through an interchange infringement. He started the second half on the ground. I think they're leaving him there. It's safer. It's out of bounds in the pocket.
The other bloke I've been reasonably impressed with today. He's still got a long way to go, but Pike, not so much for anything that he's done around the ground, but his tap work has been really intelligent and good. And when you consider he's only been in the system for less than 12 months, I mean, there's a huge upside for his work as well.
He was involved there, O'Keefe. Good tackle on Newman.
He's under the tutelage of one of the great exponents of ruck work of all time too, Steve Torbett, who's been at Sydney for a long time.
Well, Jolly's last 4 or 5 years has been a revelation.
Oh, he's taken ruckman on and just made them superstars, Torbo.
Here's White. Got a feeling there's a bit of insider trading going on, Dennis, that we don't know about. Jack running back hard. Smith with him. Jack decides to take Cousins on. Well done. It was a good decision. Found Goods.
Tim, when do you think Posters learn enough? I think you've got to move him, in fairness to the boy now, don't you?
He's got to make every post a winner, though, now.
Here's Jack. So Jack going long, and Polo. And whistle went early, but Polo's mark. I think no, it's a free kick to Sydney.
Michael O'Loughlin. Luke grabbed his jumper from the front. It's a clear hold. Thanks, Dane. Straight to him when he turns around.
I mean, the options are, I mean, what Jade Rawlins, he can kill the contest if he wants to. He can put extra players behind the ball. He can double team Adam Goods. But what's that really going to teach his players at this stage of the game, this stage of the season? He's wanting to see what they're prepared to do one-on-one where they can be exposed.
So there's the O'Loughlin free kick. Only 5 times this year in 18 games have the Swans got to 100 points in a match. They're about to get there now. So they're really freed up today, aren't they?
They're split Richmond open.
After that arm wrestle early, they've broken this game up. So O'Loughlin surely for a second in his 300th. Well, yep. Goods and O'Loughlin having big third quarters.
Micky O'Loughlin. Terrific stuff. He and Goods at the present time putting on something of a clinic. Made his debut round 595. Kicked 3 goals that day against the Crows.
To Lydio to Goods now.
His first opponent was the very talented Rod Jamison. 95. We go back a long way. There's Barlow applying a tackle on Jackson. I suppose in a perverse way this could help Jade Rawlings get the job. A few of the candidates might ring first thing on Monday morning. So they're busy next winter. Up towards the wing. Jackson will get a free.
Daniel Jackson! Daniel Jackson!
Jackson spots a man, King, by himself, cruising past his White. Now he needs to beat McVeigh, and he does it. 55 metres out. Needs to spot Vickery, and he does.
Boys, back with my boys. Keep coming.
So that would be close to the most positive bit of play we've seen from Richmond all day, isn't it? Where midfield's actually broken and been able to deliver the ball to one of their forwards within kicking distance. We see an injury here to Jared McVeigh. There he is reaching for the tackle there. I just wonder whether he might have done his hamstring there. He seems to be limping. It wouldn't have been a finger. I thought his finger might have got caught in the jumper, but Ricky Olrenshaw will be all over that down on the boundary line.
He will. Vickery, meantime, splits the middle with a kick.
Well, Tim Watson, your diagnosis was spot on, mate. He has done a hamstring when he tried to chased down White. He grabbed the back of his right leg. See him here stretch out for White. He's gone down, and straight away there he knew he'd done his hamstring, grabbed the back of his leg. When he got to the bench, he actually punched the wall as well, so he knows he's going to be out for probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Out with the hamstring, Ricky, or the broken hand?
No, it's the hamstring. Hamstring, mate, not the hand. You were close.
So it's a big out, isn't it, McVeigh? G. Edwards running into a couple, but taken high.
Let him go. Play on.
Now uses McMahon. McMahon's short kick again, not a good one. Kirk couldn't get any momentum up, and Nahas dashed forward, but Kirk smiling at the end because he found the footy. Smith put Moore under a bit of pressure. Moore turned his body, as he so often does cleverly, that low gravity, and White runs it over the line.
Jack Revolt's back out on the ground now, and I reckon the instruction would have been, I reckon Jade Rawlings would have spoken to him on the phone and said, look, you've got to get involved in this game. You cannot be a non-contributor. You've got to at least get a tackle in there, get your body involved in the game. Do something. There you go.
Pike knocked it down. Bolton tackled by Revolt.
Straight up. Right.
Gee, Tim's scary today, Dennis.
I like him when he's like this. Bit of aggro. The other side of the mild-mannered reporter. Barlow, well, almost got his second kick. Nahas. Cousins across the ground. King tried to stop it, only get one chance. Shaw's gone. Bolton. Sydney storming forward. Goods. Oh.
Play on yours.
Okay, Barlow. All is forgiven.
So Barlow's feeling pretty good about himself now. Swans have got 7 goals in this quarter, only the 4th time this year. Racing away from Richmond. And the bad story, McVeigh's done a hamstring. Rance.
Throw. Not a legal disposal. That's it, Alex. Thanks.
He's a bit like an ungainly Colt at times, Rance, isn't he? There's good kick by O'Keefe. Grundy.
What a difference, though, every time Sydney get the ball, how many options they have compared to Richmond this afternoon, who have been prepared to work one way, but not necessarily been prepared to work just as hard going back the other way.
He took 4 contested marks against the Saints last week, Grundy. He's become a very solid contributor. Good size. They're playing him in the back half most of the time. And that one fading a lot, in fact.
I think I just saw Colin Montgomery in the crowd. McMahon.
Could you imagine if Colin Montgomery barracked for Richmond? He'd be in a really bad mood today, wouldn't he?
Just imagine his caddy. Short one comes to Rance. Rance has got it left half back. Vickery is calling for it. It'll go in that direction then. Ablett comes. Vickery completely mistimed his jump, and the ball goes out of bounds. Tim, did you have a hair policy as a coach?
A hair policy?
A hair policy.
Vickery.
No, I'm just asking about Vickery.
Oh, yeah, well, Spider Everett turned up the first training session with red hair. I told him to get rid of that. He turned up with green hair. And then I told him to stop that, and he turned up with amber hair.
If you were coaching Richmond, would you say something about that haircut, or
no.
Those days are gone?
No, those days are gone.
There you go. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well done. Stolen away by Roberts-Thompson. Lachlan's got it. Running is Dwyer down towards the pocket. Spots him now. Nice kick too. Gave him as good an angle as he could expect.
They've just about given up, the Tigers, and that's a terrible thing to say about a team, but they have actually stopped running now. They're quite prepared to run if they think they're going to get the ball, but when it goes back the other way, they are not working at all.
Now, when you played, there would have been a hair policy. I hate to go back to that, but I remember back in the 60s under Polly Farmer, we had to ask permission to have our eyebrows. Here's Dwyer. Gary March not happy. Dwyer happy.
$11 goal kickers for the Swans today. Dwyer's done very well.
Their spread all year's been pretty good, actually, if you look at the goal kickers they've had.
And their main man now that Hall has retired, Goods has got most of them with O'Loughlin behind him. So this has been a massive third quarter for Sydney. Historically, one of their best ever. They're within a point of their best ever against the Tigers over the stretch. Vickery's little left footer. Newman. Back to Rand. Centering kick. Good mark by Matner. Quickly off. Roberts Thompson. This defence, he's led this defence magnificently today. Matner's done well. Grundy's done well. And speaking of Grundy, so terrific third term. 8-goal quarter to the Swans, 8-2. Goods really setting the scene. And Micky O getting a couple. So a real disappointment for that man. Not for him. 112-48 at three-quarter time on Sunday footy at the G. Swans had a huge third quarter, and Adam Goods was certainly to the fore. He's been the dominant player on the ground. He kicked three in that quarter. He's got 4 for the day. And Mel from Sunrise. Love watching Mel and Koshy in the mornings, having a great day. So 8 straight for the Swans in that quarter. 17-10 to 7-6. So 112-48.
Start of the final term of the MCG. Graham opposed to Jolly. Jolly won it on the way down. Graham goes after it. Bolton could have been pushed in the back. No free. McMahon lost it. Jude Bolton goes again. Tackled by Tambling. In goes Jackson.
So no win position now for Richmond, though, as if they actually do show some vigour in this final quarter. Everyone turns around and says, well, where's it been for 3 quarters? Well, probably, I reckon they gave a bit. They were competitive maybe for a quarter, 3 quarters of this, or the first quarter.
So Kirk's free kick, but Tim's a whole lot better than the alternative.
Well, I guess it is, but it still leaves the same question marks against the players, doesn't it?
So Kirk. He's going to look for White, I think, with a long ball. White and Thursfield, Hanbury, and also Newman. Hanbury got hold of it again.
Plenty of hands in there. Hard to pick that. Thanks, Richard. Straight up, Chris.
This defence of Sydney today has been miserly, hasn't it? I mean, talking about their back, their back 5, their back 6 today, because Reece Short's actually pushed up the ground.
Play blocking, play on.
So Graham probably just won it, and then Tambling put the tackle on.
On again. Thanks, buddy.
They don't get too many chances to play at the MCG, the Swans. We saw them against Hawthorn here, where they were probably a bit stiff a few weeks ago. Kirk, Graham.
Knock it out! Who's got it, boys?
Well, this is how the match started a bit, isn't it?
Still there. Thanks, straight up.
A lot of stoppages.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it just means that Richmond are actually working a little bit harder.
Can they sustain it?
No, you're both wrapping up, Darren.
Graham, caught by Matner.
Fine.
This is just grist for Sydney's mill, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... You've got to open the game up. You've just got to force it. You've got to get these people around the edges a little wider, because you're not going to beat Sydney doing this. Not that they're going to beat Sydney. Down goes Matner. He's pushed in the back. Oh. It's going to be a free kick to Newman. Incorrect disposal. So good break for the Tigers. Newman looks across the ground. Revolt is moving. Goods is going with him. Revolt leads back in the race. Goods has got him, wrapped him up. Revolt fell to the ground. Goods has got the footy. O'Loughlin's on. O'Loughlin down towards half forward. Jesse White is powering towards goal, or is it? Yes, it is. It's White. No, he bypasses White. Long down towards full forward. From behind, the leap came from Hanbury. It was fisted away across the line there. I think it was Polo. It was behind.
Just had 12 touches this afternoon, Hanbury, but he looks like he's going to be a real player, doesn't he, for maybe the next 10 years. And this has been part of what Paul Roos has tried to do. He's got pace, he's got good leg speed. They've been able to inject a little bit of outside speed into their side. And they'll need to do that. They'll need to continue with that.
It's been a good year for rookie left-footers in the competition, hasn't it? Blonde rookie left-footers. Saw one here last night, kick a couple of goals. Good Daniel Ritchie's had a pretty fair year.
Can't he kick a ball?
Sure can. Speaking of kicking a ball, Richmond has not done that well today. O'Dwyer's third game, playing very well. Grundy to Craig Bolton. And switches it up to Smith. Real role player for the Swans. Now Goods. Well, he's made his first blue for the day.
He just looks like he's lost all his confidence, doesn't he, Revolt? Now, Bolton started on him. We know he's an All-Australian defender, Bolton. He's one of the best in the competition, and that's the sort of effect that he can have on a player. Revolt actually gone back now, but he still doesn't look like he's got any confidence whatsoever. He's shot after 3 quarters almost on Bolton.
We saw him kick half a dozen here, 3 weeks ago, didn't we?
Jolly, cleverly. Bolton down towards full forward. How will it bounce? Well, Moore. Almost the Irish whip. He's holding the ball.
I thought it was a chicken wing tackle.
One arm free, you just put the ball on the ground.
So Ed Barlow gets the free kick in the pocket. Not much you can do there. That's just bad luck.
That's a perfect tackle. And that's the thing about Sydney. Apart from the fact they've kicked 7 goals this afternoon, their tackling has been as good as you will see from a side.
Well, they were holding hands there, weren't they?
That's right. That last one is hard to practice. And you hope they do it at a closed session. This ball misses to the near side.
Sydney.
Well, there's a lot of love in that club.
He's going nowhere more.
It's 11 goals the margin here. Swans are going to have their big win for the year, you would think.
Darren Jolly held 2 arms. Darren Jolly.
It's a great mark then by Bedelio too. Great strong packed mark there.
So Jolly goes long, looking for White, can't quite get there. There's Revolt. And he does get the big cheer from the fans, so quiet day for him. Put it down to a learning experience. Free kick.
Look, he hasn't shown a lot this afternoon, Post, but he's going to be a player. And so too will Revolt. I mean, when he just narrows the gap between his best and his worst, he'll be a good, valuable contributor.
First kick for Post today. But he's the sort of guy, Dennis, that might get a coach ringing up Monday and say, yeah, I'm still interested.
Probably right, Bruce. McMahon. But it's a sobering thought for some of these guys who want to coach Richmond. I think today tells you there's still a fair way to go. Ball's out of bounds.
That's the thing about coaching, though. You've got to back yourself, don't you? You've got to back your own philosophies. You've got to decide, OK, I'm going to take the job, and then I'm going to actually make a difference with a group of players.
Tossed in. Cousins almost stole it away. White pushed off the line of the ball by Pike. Bolton.
Oh, Jude Bolton.
Gets the free kick too high.
15, no need for that. Telling me to F off. Abuse.
Against Cousins.
I reckon Ray would be used to it.
So Cousins having a bit to say. Razor Ray not happy. Bolton goes short to Moore. So Moore will kick it goal from about 40 metres out directly in front. Lachlan moving to the pocket. So in effect away from the contest. Moore, will he get the distance? Not only the distance but the accuracy. Straight through the middle.
So Cousins after that verbal on Ray Chamberlain. They kicked 15 of the last 19 goals here, Sydney. It was 3 goals apiece at one stage. It's now 18-7.
It's a shot lacking, isn't it?
And suddenly, Tim, you sort of think to yourself, well, a month ago, Geelong at the SCG versus Sydney's a mismatch. Now, next Saturday night, Geelong at the SCG against the Swans, suddenly is a...
Even money bet.
So the Swans rejuvenating their season late. That was clever by O'Keefe to half forward. Goods trying to turn his man inside out. Out wide. Newman on the left. Well done, Newman. He broke a tackle or two. Now trying to find some space. He looks up now. Goods still chasing. Still with Newman. Goods just barges over McMahon. Newman now poised. Not a good kick after all that. Bolton. Little handball to Reeshaw. Reeshaw tucks it under his arm and out they come. The switch is on. Ablett will use the run maybe if Hanbury. No. Decided not to. Now they're going to go to Pike. So well, there you go. And he did it well.
Hanbury. They've got the loose man. Well done by Smith. He looks a likely type too. Goods from behind, won't get to the contest. Good mark in front, taken by Post.
Adam, 2 metres, mate. Adam.
This is just a terrible bit of play here, but the problem with that was actually Post led right up the ground, and in the end he was shepherding for Newman, and then Newman kicked the ball to Post direct opponent Bolton, who'd actually gone back to half back.
Nahas to the corridor, and Newman 48-120. Sydney on top in the red and white. Tambling forward of the wing, looks for Morton, getting his hands to it. Grundy. Morton grabs the footy and kicks a goal. Been a long time coming.
Had a few chances early today, Morton, didn't he? Goods has been the dominant player on the ground. 19 kicks as a centre-half forward.
12 contested possessions in all that too, Macca.
Yeah.
He's worked in all aspects and all areas of the game.
When he has a big day, it really counts, doesn't it? Ablett's kick inside. Barlow, little juggle. Edwards, well done. Fetched it really well and then takes off to Cousins in the back half. Cousins running through the centre. Gives to White. White with a bounce.
Yeah. Gets
within range. 50 metres out. Going and going. Where's that been all day?
So the margin 60 points, a couple of back-to-back goals for the Tigers. We were talking about Adam Goods before. He's the only Swan who's played every minute of this game. Knocked down by Pike, who goes again. Head down, Jackson taken down. Edwards, Vickery, Cousins. Hasn't stopped trying, Ben Cousins. King. Suddenly, spring in their step, the Tigers. Towards half forward, the King kick. Leading back in the race is Brown. Matner is closing. Brown worked off the footy by Matner, and he's going to get the free. Can't believe it.
They've only taken the ball inside 30 times this afternoon, Richmond. So in the analysis of this game, people will look at the stats of Brown and they'll say, look, he's been a poor contributor. But when you think about it, they actually haven't had that many opportunities as forwards.
Is the future any more with Brown than with somebody like Bowden? There's Goods.
I think there's only, I mean, it's probably an age thing. There might be a couple of years difference between Brown and also Bowden.
Goods along the boundary. A lot of times today he's gone looking for his mate and generally found him. O'Loughlin with precision. Oops. Jesse's got to mop that up a little bit better. One area of his game that hasn't helped him today, that one about face high, he's dropped a couple. O'Loughlin on the 50. They're queuing up in the middle. He goes to the goal square. This could bounce through. No, in fact, Jolly lunged at it at the last minute. Pushing it across the line is Moore. Not sure there was much pressure there, but given the chaos that has been Richmond today, maybe the umpire thought, well, there was a Richmond player in the vicinity.
Cousins wide to Deledio.
Just had 11 touches this afternoon, Brett Deledio. Hasn't been his best afternoon. Jared Moore just getting bundled over the line. Took a while to get up in the hands of the trainers for about 20 or 30 seconds he was.
So Pike and Jolly double teaming. He's a resilient character, Bolton. We've had him on the bench for a few times today, but he's come back. Deledio to Cousins, racking up the posies again. Kicking to centre half forward. Then Thursfield over the top. Now King, who's already kicked 2, which is a career high. Is that coming back for a third? No, he's missed. Good opportunity wasted there.
Just over time with the Sydney Swans, the game just starting to open up for the first time this afternoon. Jade Rawlings on screen there. Well, he's going to have plenty to think about as he plots the composition of this side for next week and maybe even over the next 3 weeks. Who to leave in, who to leave out.
Got Collingwood next week, which will be a big crowd, you'd think, here.
Bet you the Swans will be taking a fair bit of interest in the game in Perth now. I mean, if Port Adelaide lose, then suddenly Sydney will be behind them, but with a better percentage. Better percentage than the incumbent. Strong tackle on Polo. Slips a hand pass away. Thursfield. Revolt. In and out of trouble. Polo manages a kick very high. Morton getting a fist on it. Smith liked his game. The longer it's gone, the better he's got. Grundy is tied up. In fact, it was Matner, and the umpire will ball it up with the ball underneath Jack.
Haven't won a game away from Sydney this year, the Swans. They won in Canberra, actually, against Melbourne. But not a game in Victoria, not an absolute away game as such. Tambling, belting it inside. Good job there by Bolton against the flow. Edwards almost. And Craig Bolton, little give to Jude. Well done, Kirk, who's laid. Well, he'd had 14 tackles in the first 3 quarters, Kirk. Moore rode it. Ball up.
That's a solid performance, isn't it? 14 tackles, 7 contested possessions, 5 clearances. That just about sums that bloke up. And Jackson, he's taken Jackson out of the game as well, who's been, you know, a solid ball winner for Richmond.
So the Swans just starting to paddle a bit. But they've done all their good work to lead it by 10 goals.
It really is an energy-sapping style of football. I mean, you just wonder, over the course of a season playing as Sydney do, week in, week out, they're doing this. They're stronger in the mind and tackling, I think, than most clubs they play, simply because it's the way they play. We've got a whistle, free kick to Goods. But having said that, to do it every week, gee.
And I think that's one of the questions we've been asking about St Kilda this week, Dan. How long can you play that hard for?
What a result that was, Bruce. I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like that. Drop half the side, or well, without half the side. Whatever you did with them, they weren't there. And you still win against the previous season's premiers. Jack is through. Can he snap a goal? Hit the post. The son of a gun. Hit the post on the run. He's been very impressive today.
Cut off by Pike. He has Jack now.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, he hasn't kicked a goal, Pike.
I don't know that he's had a kick today.
So
he's had 6 handballs, no kicks.
So Michael Pike, the big experiment from Canada, the rugby player turned footballer.
It's an interesting way he's holding the ball there too.
Across the face and behind. But
well, clubs are going to have to get creative and inventive about the way that they recruit players because of the 2 sides coming into the AFL competition. I don't think it's going to be the last experiment we see playing an AFL side from overseas or another, well, from another coach, certainly not, with Carmichael Hunt coming into the competition as well.
And he's big and he's athletic, so he's got a couple of things going for him, hasn't he?
And last night we saw, you know, Lovett Murray contesting the ruck at one stage with Tim Notting in the centre bounce.
Free kick and a 50. Cousins coming off the ground. 50, nothing to do with him.
Sydney.
Brown has got the footy. Cousins off with 24 possessions. Short one to Revolt. So do you think, Tim, the next wave of players, as that experimentation you're talking about goes on, could it be African players, do you think, from Eritrea, Somalia? Here's Moore from 52 metres out, long down towards full forward. Plenty of Swans in defence. McGuan left it behind. Nahas tackled too high, gets the free.
But answer to your question, the South Africans, the experiment over there and the amount of work that the AFL have been putting in, the development has been massive in a short space of time.
He just fallen his back.
Free kick to King again then, still looking for a personal best. This not beyond him.
He hasn't been Richmond's worst player today either, Jake King.
No. Well, he's a scrapper, isn't he?
That's right. And his job was to take Reece Shaw out of the competition. He's done that. Reece Shaw hasn't been a factor this afternoon. We haven't seen much run and carry from him. So he's actually he's stuck to his task really well.
King. It's working its way back. Not enough. Behind.
So a couple of behinds in this quarter for King. Got a goal in the first and third. And there's his opponent. He's had a good season, Reece Shaw, as so many players do when they go to Sydney. Matner the year before him. There's a long, long list.
Well, he's filled that spot, hasn't he, that Ty Kennelly had at Sydney, which is to be that real run, carry, attacking half-back flanker.
You think, Tim, I mean, Sydney started this season too short. No Fosdyke, he was on their list, no Kennelly. It's a big thing to give away before a ball's bounced at the start of March.
Also.
So Roberts Thompson to half, or to centre wing. Edwards' look-away handball. Deledio, quite his match for him. Good tackle again from Smith.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Deledio thought that he was going to be free of pressure. He was under pressure, and then, you know, Hislop thought, OK, I might be able to grab this ball and run with it, but there was another Sydney Swans player on him immediately.
And gee, hasn't the tackle count become a badge of honour in football over the last 12 months?
Absolutely. Roberts Thompson to Hanbury. Talking about Fosdyke and Kennelly. As the ball comes up towards the wing, Ablett humbled to the line, taken across by Ablett after the miss by White. Interesting too, Sydney's attitude to that. They were very understanding, weren't they? Which I suppose gives them a chance to get Kennelly back. From behind, Graham knocked it down.
It's hard not to be understanding, though, when there's family involved, isn't it?
But even so, I mean, the timing of it was not to Sydney's liking, you wouldn't have thought, but they just accepted the decision. Very professional. Speaking of professional, Tim, I've got a bit of a story. I was reading the other day, and I know you follow the NFL in the USA. A couple of weeks ago, the NFL issued a ruling banning in-game tweeting for guys on the bench. Can you imagine that?
No, I support that.
Well, so do I, but I mean, you wouldn't think you needed a ruling. Talk about roaming the sidelines. Tracking this ball back is O'Dwyer. I would imagine Phil Hughes is the current tweet laureate.
If you want to know anything, just give Phil a call.
But that's where we're headed. But
do you reckon he would have known of the 8 changes that St Kilda were going to make, Phil Hughes?
Probably. No, well, he wouldn't have. Otherwise, he would have tweeted. There's Revolt on the outer side. In amongst the birds, O'Loughlin flies through, knocks it to his own advantage. McGuan's got him. Bolton, now Kurt.
Back to Hanbury. Normally uses it pretty well. Takes off. Decides to go long to full forward. Can he get it all the way to Jolly? Not quite. Revolt cutting it off.
I think it was it Terrell Owens that actually took his mobile phone out onto the field one day, and then after he scored a touchdown, picked it up and rang somebody?
A fella called Horn from New Orleans, wasn't it?
Was it Joe Horn, was it?
Joe Horn.
Good tackle by Tambling.
Excuse us, Brits.
No, I'm enjoying it. The season's about to restart over there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, not far away.
And I reckon Sydney's season for next year's already begun too.
So Pike just wins the tap. Moore, and then Matner. That was clever. Did very well, Matner, and then bangs it inside the 50. Jolly probably should have taken it in the end. Revolt keeps it in.
Jolly is down holding his shoulder. Hopefully he's okay. He's got to his feet behind play. Newman, meantime, around the outer side, working in front. Gee, this kid's got better and better, Smith.
Well, he's a real find. I mean, if you look at Hanbury, Smith and O'Dwyer just today, on their performances today, they're all going to be AFL players. And Paul Roos said that during the year. He said, we haven't got the luxury of going right back down to the bottom again and then restocking and going forward. We have to stay competitive. And, he's been a wonderful coach so far. Maybe he's going to be able to do that. Maybe they're not going to bottom out the Sydney Swans. Maybe this is as low as we're going to see them drop, and then they'll start to rebuild. They've got some wonderful players that they have to replace, so in Barry Hall and Micky O'Loughlin, and maybe they'll become really active again during the pre-season trade.
Now Haas beyond the wing. Deledio taken down. Matner scrambles after the footy, and the umpire decides he'll ball it up.
So Pike doing most of the ruck work in the final term. Deledio's little give, good. Then Nahas, almost Hislop, outnumbered. Bolton was on his back. It's a free kick to Hislop.
He was down over the football. Touch him out there, thanks.
He's played the last 8 games, Hislop, for the Tigers. Comes around, and I reckon Jake King's taken that right on the line. So we've been willing him to get that third goal. He's about to get it.
That's a real win for him against Reece Shaw, isn't it? No, not only has he stopped that run of Reece Shaw, but he's about to kick 3 goals for the afternoon as well.
And there it is.
Good on him. Buddy Franklin, Jonathan Brown and Jake King. 3 goals between them this weekend. 18-15 to 10-8. Graham on the way down. Down goes Kirk. And the ball up. So just over 2 minutes remaining in this one, and Sydney have done their percentage the world of good this afternoon, although in the last term they've eased off a bit. Graham is flattened. He'll get the free. And depending on the remaining result in this round, they could still be alive.
Doesn't miss a trick, poor Reece Shaw. Straight to the interchange bench after that.
High ball punched away by Matner, roved by Polo. Morton, now Rance.
And Rance inside the 50, but ill directed in the end. Probably didn't have a target, to be honest. And Grundy, Hanbury, Barlow, who ran onto the field as a 19th man today and cost them a goal, but he done pretty well in the second half. Goods has been magnificent. Good effort by Revolt then.
He's actually been pretty competitive in the air since he went to Adam Goods. He's given Goods a lot to think about when they've actually been just involved in a mark and duel between the pair.
So against O'Keefe for a throw. Umpire's certainly on to that. Here's Morton. Morton's kick. A difficult one for Hislop. Edwards, that's a terrific pick-up. Good tackle. Vickery caught as well and then slung down. Probably a bit stiff at the end.
He's going to be a player, Edwards, isn't he? He just needs another couple of summers in the gym. He's got to build his body strength up. He's got the running power. He's certainly going to be part of what Richmond are trying to build.
Boundary throw in behind the pack. Down goes Brown. Matner taking a couple of revolutions holding the football.
Go to it, Mellis, Rance.
Dying seconds of the game. Rance, Morton. High ball. Can Vickery get there? No, he can't. He was off the ball, battling with an opponent. Grundy took the mark. Well, in the dying seconds, this game could have done with some Vickery trickery as Sydney run down the clock. Here's McGuan.
Got it.
Long ball to the pocket. Going back is Bolton. He takes the mark.
No closer.
One of those afternoons, Tim. Too much time to think.
You kept the best to last.
Like running into an open goal. And there's one of the best who's lasted. They honour him with a victory. And one of his closest mates really set it up. Adam Goods with 4 goals. Micky O'Loughlin in game number 300. The smile as wide as the MCG. And his interviewer comes and asks one last question. It's all over at the G. A resounding victory to Sydney. Congratulations to them. 18-15 to 10-8.
So a lot of respect all round for Michael O'Loughlin, creating some history today. First Swan to play 300, did it in style, and he's with Ricky.
Thanks, Macca. Cheers, great moment for you, mate. You must be really proud.
Mate, still pinching myself. This club means a lot to me. I've been around for a long time, and to play the way we did, finishing the year off, and I think the boys have done really well.
It must have meant a lot for you too in the rooms. There was, legends of the club like Peter Bedford and John Rantel presenting with a jumper. Must have been a proud moment before the game.
Oh, look, I walked in there. It was a past players reunion almost. It was walked into the rooms, and as you said, all the champions were there. And
I'm sure Plugger was watching at home too.
Yeah, I got a message from Plug, and look, it was just we just wanted to play like we did last week, without pressure, and I think that's sort of what kept us in the game. And it was just a good effort in the end.
And a crucial win too. It does keep your finals hopes alive. It's a little bit longer.
Oh, I mean, probably our fault. We've got to rely on other results. But you know, this club never lies down. We just keep on having a crack.
Well, just an acknowledgement of your career so far. Want to make the Richmond boys, Chris Newman and Richard Tambling. Was he with the match ball?
Mate, fantastic, mate. Keep plugging away, mate. Keep plugging away. Thanks, mate.
Congratulations, Mick. Go and get carried off by the rest of your teammates. Well done, mate.
So final scores here, classy little bit from Richmond, I reckon there. It was 68 to 123.
So a festive feeling after 300 games. Micky O'Loughlin savouring a 55-point victory. Sydney just dominant this afternoon as they win big time. 18-15-123 to 10-8-68. Goods with 4 goals just had a head. Let's just take a look at Richmond. As we take a look at these stats first, I was going to look at the turnovers, which aren't listed there. I think they were plentiful this afternoon, Tim.
No, they were plentiful, and it cost Richmond badly right throughout the course of the afternoon. Inside 50s, though, 53 the Sydney Swans and 37 Richmond. I mean, that just really tells you the dominance in the way that Sydney played. They were able to get the ball from half-back, run the ball right through the centre of the ground and open up the game. And in the end, they just gave their forwards so many opportunities. They kicked the ball so well too right throughout the course of the afternoon, but their tackle count was up high, and that started right from the beginning of the game. They were in the zone, weren't they?
Plenty of gusto there. I was in the rooms before the game and there was a great feeling. They love winning, Sydney.
Yeah, they love Micky O'Loughlin too.
They sure do. Terrific day for Sydney. He's given us a lot of memories over the years, has Micky. A memorable day, 300 games, the first